I'm Tom Giannotti. I'm an attorney with the Butler Law Firm. Today I want to talk about something that is somewhat outside of what we do as personal injury lawyers, but something that affects what we do as a profession and also what we do in our everyday lives as citizens of the state of Georgia, and that is our state's legislative session. It's going on right now. It actually started January 10th, the same day the Georgia Bulldogs won the national championship, and actually is only 40 days out of the year. A lot of people don't know that our state legislators, unlike U.S. congressmen and women and senators, they only have basically a part-time job. And so these folks are from all walks of different professions and do this part-time out of the year and go back to their full-time jobs the rest of the year. So these 40 days are a busy time under the Gold Dome, and I wanted to just sort of do this as a sort of an educational thing that a lot of people that aren't lawyers and aren't familiar with this don't know that this is actually available to them, and it's actually really good just to be a more informed citizen and know what legislation is out there pending, so that you can engage and contact your state representative or state senator if there's something that you feel like they should be doing, or you want to have your voice heard. It's actually a great way to be involved in the state politics that really affects us a lot more directly, at least in my view, than national politics that we hear about on the news. So the Georgia legislative website is right here. It's legis.ga.gov, and you can actually go here and see a pretty up-to-date view of all the different legislation that are currently in the Gold Dome here. So we have, there's actually two houses, just like with the Congress. There's this House of Representatives and the Senate, and you can actually see what is on the agenda for the day. If you click First Readers, you can see all the bills that are basically up for debate on this day. As you see here, this is the 11th day of the legislative session, and you can scroll through these. There's a lot of them. A lot of them are just sort of ceremonial type things, naming a street or building after somebody that contributed to our state, or it may be something that just affects one particular local government. Other things affect everyone statewide. Some of these you may have heard about in the news. They tend to be the more controversial ones. We're going to stay away from those. But it's actually a really good tool for Georgia citizens to be informed. So here, if you go, I'll navigate you there, if I can remember how I got here. So if you go to legislation and laws, all legislation, you can go to you can see there's almost 3,000 pieces of legislation here. So this is one of the ones that's been in the news, actually, the Constitutional Carry Act, and then some that you may not have heard of. There's a proposal to eliminate the state income tax for people that are over 60 and have lived in Georgia for 10 years. I didn't even know about that bill before I started researching this website. So if you're over 60, that really affects you, and you may not have known about that either. Again, that's not to say that it will or won't pass, but it's good to follow these things, and if you feel passionate on one side or the other, contact your state legislator. And that brings me to the next point, is how to find your state legislator. You can actually use this website to do that. To do this, I just Googled Georgia Find My Legislator, but you can actually go on the Secretary of State's page and access that through your voter registration. It'll tell you who your legislators are, or you can just go to one of these websites. I used Vote Smart and typed in my address, and tells you who all of your elected officials are. And so you can use that to contact your particular state senator and state representative in Georgia to express your views about any pending legislation or things that you think should be talked about and discussed in the legislature. So the last thing I'll talk about here is just how to actually look at certain legislation. So I just picked one. This is a bill that affects personal injury lawyers like myself. This is one of two bills that is really interesting in the sense that it tells you how, for those who aren't familiar with the legislative process and drafting, just how particular you have to be. And you keep in mind, all state legislators are not lawyers. Actually, only a few of them are. Most of them are not lawyers, and so careful drafting is really important when it comes to these state laws. So you see here, this statute, which has to do with apportionment. I won't bore you with those details, but basically it relates to an action that's brought against more than one person, and this bill wants to revise that and say one or more persons. And that's because there was a decision from the Georgia Supreme Court. I'm going to bore you a little bit. A decision from the Georgia Supreme Court called Alston and Berg versus Hatcher that that basically said that if a lawsuit is brought against one single defendant as opposed to multiple defendants, this statute doesn't apply because of the way it's drafted. It says more than one person. The court basically said, look, the outcome may seem counterintuitive to what one might think, but that's not the province of the court. The legislator needs to, if the legislator intended that, then they would have put that, but they didn't. So that upset some folks, and now they're trying to change that. But you see how, just from a citizen's perspective, it's just interesting how one little drafting, just 3 words basically, can completely change the meaning of a statute. You can see here, there's like no other changes to this bill. They just want to revise 3 words, and it completely changes the landscape of a lot of cases that we see in our practice. So I hope this has been informative. And if you have questions about this or are interested in learning more about the legislative process, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk to you. Even if you don't have a personal injury case, we're happy to engage with our viewers. So thank you for watching.